JOANNE reporting for TTN-HD Production Live, here with Chelsea Mcmullan, writer-director of Derailment, which is screening at Tiff this year. Can you tell me a little bit about your documentary?
Yeah, the documentary is about a illustrator named Milo Manera, and he had this sort of very famous collaboration with Federico Fellini, and he sort of, it's sort of very mysterious, but the sort of very short Reader's Digest version is that he illustrated Fellini's vision of the afterlife.
Okay. Great. And are you a big fan of the filmmaker Fellini?
Huge fan, huge fan. I'm living in Italy right now. I'm in sort of an artist think tank called Fabrica, and so while I was there, I was watching tons of Fellini films because I thought it was like amazing to watch Fellini films in Italy, and you sort of get so much more context once you've sort of lived in Italy. But then I sort of heard about this illustrator, and he's really quite famous. He's a very famous comic book illustrator, Milo Manera, in Italy. So yeah, so I heard about him and that they had this sort of epic collaboration and wanted to make a film about it. So.
Okay, great. And can you tell me a little bit about the think tank that you're doing? That's so interesting. What is it? How many artists are involved in that?
Yeah, it ranges. It's amazing. I mean, it's been a wonderful opportunity for me. It's called Fabrica, and it's owned by the Benetton Group and the United Colors of Benetton, and they sort of, yeah, they have this think tank creative residency, and you get a 1-year sort of grant, and they pay for you to come and live there and work, and they take people from all over the world, and there's a lot of sort of interdisciplinary work, and it's very media driven. But I mean, they funded the whole film. They got me in touch with Manera. They're super sort of supportive of me and the project since the beginning, so I'm super grateful to them. But yeah.
Cool. And this is your third time in TIFF. Can you tell me a little bit about your 2 other films and what it's like to be back?
Yeah, it's always an honor to be at TIFF, and I love the festival, and it's kind of like coming home at this point. But yeah, the other 2 films I made a documentary maybe 2 years ago now called Dead Man, and it was about a man building a Western themed amusement park in the town of Dead Man's Creek, which is in British Columbia. And then before that, it was a narrative film that was entitled Plume, sort of about 2 boys. It's a very surreal journey on their sort of first sexual experience. So yeah, that was an interesting one.
And do you think you'll stay more with documentaries or narratives in the future?
You know, I really, really want to sort of walk the line, and I think it's difficult for directors to sort of, because people, I think, always want to put you in a box of, okay, you're a documentary filmmaker, you're a narrative filmmaker, but for me, I really would love to walk the line of trying to do both. So I think my next project will probably, yeah, be a narrative film. Just to sort of, I like to go from one to the other. It's also like a challenge and different skills. And then I also like to mix them. Like a lot of people say that my docs are very sort of cinematic, and yeah, I put a lot of, like I use a lot of, I think, tools from narrative to tell the stories of documentaries, and vice versa. I usually work with non-actors. So I sort of like to, they usually end up being a hybrid anyways for me. So.
Great. And you went to York University, and there are quite a few filmmakers in TIFF this year that went to York. How is that sharing the experience with everyone? It's
great. I mean, yeah, there's 11 directors who have filmed from York. I think that York alumni, they had a dinner for us last night. It was really nice, and seeing everyone. But 3 directors that were actually, we went in the same year, and both of them, Igor and Raha, have excellent films in the festival, and they're really good friends of mine. So it just feels like really relaxed, like we can sort of go and do everything together, and so yeah, and it's an honor being with them in the same year. So
great. And when is your film screening at TIFF?
My film screens the 12th at 8 p.m. I believe it's Monday, and then the 13th at 5 p.m., which is Tuesday.
Okay, great. And tickets are available on the TIFF website.
Yes, indeed.
Perfect. And do you have a website where we can look out for upcoming work?
Yeah. It's chelseamcmullan.com.
Okay.
And or my work is featured on the Fabrica website as well, which I believe is fabrica.com or IT.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much, Chelsea, and best of luck at TIFF.
Thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome. I'm Katie Allman reporting for TTN-HD Production Live.